And we're going to do the second week in November 2016, which happens to be the week of the election. And we're going to be talking a lot about Neptune here. A viewer in Honolulu named Surfboard emailed me and said, "Hey, talk about Neptune." Boy, was he right. I started looking into Neptune, and wow, stuff's happening here. Well, more on that a little later. First, let's go through this sky mirror for you and find out what life is like on an everyday basis. There's Neptune, see? Now, Neptune is slowing down and stopping. Yeah, it stops on the 19th of November. Okay? And these things extend 20 days on either side. So the election's right, in the zone of Neptune. Some people could get lost. Anyway, I've got the chart set up for you here. The sun is in Scorpio, going from 12 degrees to 22, and it likes Neptune at the beginning of your week. The sun's in trine to Neptune in water signs. It's not bad at all. As you get towards the end of, well, heck, this is 15 degrees. The sun's going to sextile Pluto. That's only 3-4 days from you. And there'll be discovery. Oh boy. Anyway, Neptune, wow. Call him the priest, artist, doctor, musician. He rules all sorts of amazing, unseen things. I love Neptune. I have a good Neptune in my chart. And, boy, I've had my share of Neptune experiences. It rules alcohol, too, and the ocean, and liquids in general. The stone from Neptune for Pisces is amethyst. And it said if you drink wine from an amethyst cup, you won't have a hangover. Get nothing but the good. I don't know, I never tried. We're going to run the moon around the edge of this planetary pattern, and as we do, it makes angles to these different bodies. These are the people in your world. Neptune's a priest, artist, doctor, musician. He could be a thief. Yep. And I've kind of figured about half of them are malefics. About half of the doctors, priests, artists, musicians are kind of phonies, and you can be taken, got their hand in your pocket. Look out. But, you can't beat real Neptunes like Jesus. There are real doctors, and there are real priests that are doing the real thing. So it's a double sign, This Pisces rules Neptune. It's two little fish with its tail tied together. And there's always this dualism to Neptune. I mean, a priest could do wonderful work half time and then be drunk the rest of the other half of the time. And, who's to blame him? Come on. Jesus would go out and do all this wondrous work, then he'd go hide out in the woods. So Neptune is so sensitive. It sees colors better, hears music better. When you're really sensitive, sometimes the crass world of the West is overwhelming. I got to get away, I got to go hide out. So if you're a Pisces or, Pisces rising, you need a hiding place like Jesus to get away from it all and preserve your sensitivity. And we're all going to feel a little bit that way around the 19th. Stronger and stronger as you get towards there. Well, let's look at it day by day. As the moon goes around here, let's see, if you're on the Thursday night show, which most people in Hawaii watch, the whole sky mirror is set up to watch Thursday night. So you can check out the next 3-day weekends and make your plans. And Thursday night, the moon went in to Capricorn and started getting more powerful, but here Thursday morning the moon went by Venus, so there's a lot of pleasure in the air. You're kind of in the blue zone here. See, Venus is going to go from 21 Sag to 3 Capricorn during your next 10 days. Anyway, here's the moon goes into Capricorn. the vibes change. They get more serious, more organized, more managerial. And there's a lot of stuff going on here. When you look carefully, here's first of all a sextile to Neptune. That's about the middle of the day. And, you know, there could be color, art, music, belief. You know, everything's fine, said the priest. Don't worry, you either go to heaven or to hell. There's also a sextile to the sun, but there's a square to Jupiter. We tend to overdo it all. It's too loud. You know, that happens in the afternoon. And then at night here, in the evening, late evening, the moon goes by Pluto. Eek, a bug! You know, I've had my fill of bugs, geez. That last Pluto station was strong. And Mars went by there a couple of weeks ago for you. Anyway, I'm still in that. See, I'm back here to... Never mind. We're talking about where you're at on the time track. And on Friday night, the moon goes by Pluto. People get kind of radical. And those that were overdoing it could fight and be radical. So, not exactly your best Friday night to go out for pleasure. Saturday on the 15th, or on the 5th, moon's still in Capricorn. It starts to get a little bit strange when the moon squares Uranus in the middle of the day, and electrical things aren't so good, and you feel a little alone, and things are a little shaky, you know, and twist the plugs, bang the battery. Anyway, you're in the Mars zone Saturday night. The moon's going by Mars here. That's about dinner time or after dinner, and people get randy when Mars acts up. And in Capricorn, he's very, very animalistic. It's a nice way of putting it, isn't it? But you know, everybody got separated a little bit Saturday midday, and then they get angry Saturday night. It's not a good combination, you know. Not a good combination. Sunday, the 6th, the moon shifts into Aquarius. Much better. All those extremist, angry things calm down, you know, when moon leaves Capricorn. In Aquarius, Sunday mellows right out. Actually, there's not a lot going on. On Monday morning, here's a nice trine to Jupiter. Truth and wisdom comes out. Yeah, and in the middle of the day, there's a sextile to Saturn. Here's good judgment. First expanded, then contracted, and you reach the middle point, the wise place. That's the way our law's supposed to work. Jupiter lawyers, Saturn judges. They're supposed to reach this midpoint. Anyway, when you get to the place of Saturn, the problem is there's a square to the sun. Sound like a good deal, but we're not going to be able to do it. Yeah, around lunchtime, Monday the 17th. In the evening, on the 7th, there's a nice sextile to Uranus. There's a little brotherhood around technical stuff. Here's the enlightenment of the mind. Neptune's the enlightenment of the heart. But here, we're in the age of Aquarius, so we got to look after the mind. And Monday night's a good time to do it. Good time. There is a square to Mercury. If you stay up too late, everybody's going to talk too much and your mind won't quiet down. You'll have a little trouble sleeping. But it looks like everybody sleeps late Tuesday morning. Here's a nice sextile to Venus. See, when is that? That's 2, 4, 6. That's about 8 a.m. And so if you're with somebody you love, stay in bed late Tuesday morning. Moon shifts into Pisces about noontime, and you're going to feel the Neptune. And you can either get drunk and sloppy and get lost with Neptune, or you can get inspired, find yourself playing music and doing poetry, and wonderful things can happen with Neptune. We had 2,000 years of the age of Pisces. Water travel, arts, music. Sometimes, though, you get lost. In fact, almost all the time you get lost. Now, here's this little thing next to Neptune called the Dragon's Tail, the South Node. I'm going to talk a lot more about that because I need help. So here you got people going out getting lost or drunk or something, or overly into belief, and then in the next few hours they need help. What does that tell you? Not so hot with Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, huh? Be suspicious of everything. Wednesday the 9th, there's a nice sextile to the Pluto after lunch, and a square to Saturn. You know, the laws are closing in, but investigation proves them worthless. And you got the power to control. Sherlock Holmes comes along and says, here's the control. You can get through that locked gate. The sun's happy. We got a lot of things accomplished because we listened to the research Wednesday night. Thursday, the moon's still in Pisces. And in the middle of the day, there's a square to Venus. You're going to get lazy. Don't overdo sweets Thursday midday or you'll be sorry. Because here's Mars. Now this is like 10 o'clock sextile to Mars Thursday. Good for physical stuff. Moon's in Aries. So stay up late and get your chores done Thursday night. On Friday, it's a busy day. And there's difficulties because in the middle of the day and in the early afternoon, the moon opposes Jupiter. Too much noise. Where's the clowns? And it squares Pluto. The police arrested the clowns. And there's trouble everywhere. And then a couple hours later, there's a nice trine to Saturn, and the judge settled it all, and it all calmed down. And as you go through Friday, 11/11, here at 2 a.m. in the morning on the 12th, Saturday really, that's what that mark is, the moon goes by Uranus. In la catch, I am another you. There's Uranus enlightenment. You got to look back to cultures before the age of Pisces. The age of Pisces was all about Neptune, and Neptune doesn't like Uranus. No science there. We believe what we believe, and that's it. So, and then along comes Uranus and says, wait a minute, there's astrology, there's numbers, there's science, there's rationality, there's common sense. And the highest thing you can do, kind of Buddhist-like, is realize I am another you. So the Mayan culture, that's how you greeted people. In la catch, I am another you. Put your perspective on it, huh? It's truth. Anyway, it zaps in pretty fast. Oh, I understand that now. And tomorrow you might forget it, but this is what the age of Aquarius is about. The next 2,000 years is realizing the enlightenment from Uranus. So, this is a good point, or a bad point, depending on how the machines and electricals and computers and the mind that we all share goes. Your feeling of brotherhood. So you might wind up staying up late Friday night and not be able to go to sleep very easily. You know, the thing happens about 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning Saturday, the moon goes by Uranus. Kind of shocking and sleepless night, perhaps, okay? You're probably still feeling it through Saturday, the 12th. And then after dinner, here the moon goes into Taurus, a fixed earth sign. And as it does, well, it trines Venus. Hey, there's sweets and beautiful things and love and nice stuff. Now it squares Mars. You know, the young men got to calm down here or you're going to ruin the Venus time. But Venus has her way first. She comes in here just after dinner, and Mars doesn't show up till 9, 10 o'clock with angriness and impatience sometimes. That's your Saturday night. So if you're going for pleasure on a date Saturday night, close it down early before you start to fight. Go to dinner, forget the show, go home early, and you'll avoid the irritation of a Mars square. Sunday, the moon's in Taurus. Pretty good time. Here's a nice sextile to Neptune. Here's the priest, artist, doctor at his best. You know, moon in Taurus is very loving and earthy. Come fill the cup, and in the fires of spring, the gray winter garments of repentance fling. Oh, Mark, there's all this neat stuff about the wine And the alcohol, well, how about the drug war? Oh, don't get me started. You know, they got outflanked on the marijuana issue, but they're trying to demonize opium now, the form of heroin. Opioids are really doctor trips. But, you know, that plant, that opium poppy, is one of the gifts to mankind. It should not be demonized any more than the marijuana plant. Political, huh? Boo. Neptune will have his way. Morphine is a gift to mankind, as is opium. Sunday the 13th, in the morning, you'll realize more about this. It's a good time to go to church, a good time to pray, a good time to release your higher heart. Now, you don't have to go to church. You can go sit under a tree. The birds will come and tweet at you and give you some of Jesus' words. So it's a very sensitive, spiritual, neat morning for Sunday, you know, kind of reserved for the spiritual matters. That's what Neptune specializes in. You could call it spiritual. I call them unseen things, things you can't see. Here's Pluto coming along with some more information. The detective shows up Sunday afternoon and says, "Boy, we got a new discovery for you." Great. After you're done with the spiritual stuff, go to the internet and start a little research thing. Monday morning on the 14th, early, here's the opposition to the sun. It's a full moon. Oh, it could be a little difficult getting into work if you're going early. And on full moons, you know, people are not, they're not always themselves emotionally. They tend to get things a little out of proportion. So Monday morning on the 14th, keep your head down.